Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sewing Monday. I am T, and you might know me from my sewing blog, Sewing by T, or my fabric shop, Simply by T. But if you love sewing and you want to know more about bras, today is the day for you. So this is actually part 2 in a multi-part series, and who knows how many parts there ultimately is going to be. I'm trying to give you as much information as you can to really be able to be successful making your own bras. However, even if you are not interested in sewing your own bras, if you wear a bra, this is going to be the right video for you. So, bras are obviously kind of a tricky thing, and a lot of seamstresses are afraid to make them. And I can tell you that underwire bras are not hard to sew. The difficulty comes in the actual fitting. Welcome, Natasha. Make sure that you like this video. Welcome, Cheryl. I heard you guys have got quite the cold front. It's like you're trying to compete with Wyoming here. It's actually not too cold here. I think we're around in the 20s, which isn't too bad for us. Welcome, Sue. I am so happy to see people popping on. Now, last week's video was very, very popular, so I have a feeling that today is going to be popular too. I do not want to run too long, so once I hit the 30-minute mark, I am done. Whether I covered everything or not, it is over. So before we start talking about underwire bras, which I know that you guys really want to know about, I did purchase something interesting. Welcome, Mary. I purchased a bra from Trust, T-R-U-S-S-T, and they use a no-wire system. And I can tell you that it didn't fit, but we'll talk about why. But the Trust system, number one, they use a heck of a lot of foam, so pretty much this like holds itself up. But it has like a bridge built into here. So there's this big piece that is meant to support your breast rather than just the underwire. Like I said, this did not fit me, but overall I'm pretty impressed with the brand idea. So if you're looking to buy a bra, I don't necessarily recommend this specific style because of how poor the fit was, but the other ones look pretty good. So let's go ahead and get started because we have got 15 people here. Welcome, Sharon, Chrishone, Susie, and Melissa. So I'm going to work my way around all the parts of the bra on an underwire bra and how to get a good fit. Now this advice, some of it will apply to sports bras. Most of it is specific to underwires. So we're actually going to start at the front, which is this section right here. And depending on who you ask, it's either called the bridge. I've seen it be called the got it, which didn't make sense to me, but I've seen it called that. Or it could also be called part of the frame. So when you're fitting a bra, this part should be sitting flat against your body. And that is one of the most common fit issues I see with most women wearing bras, is that this does not sit flat against their body. And there's 3 reasons that can happen. So reason number 1, and this is something you can adjust when you're making your bra before you even sew it. It's going to depend on how much room there is in between your breasts. So for me, I can fit 1 finger. That's all the room I have to fit the wires. And that is the reason why this bra does not fit me. The distance between where this side, and it's not a wire, and this side is 3 fingers across. I am not 3 fingers across, so that part of the bra cannot, under any circumstances, sit flat against my chest. So if you are going to make your own bra or you're out trying on bras, and I don't know about you, but I've tried on 50, 30 bras at a time and still not found a bra that fit. So number 1 is you need to know how close together are your breasts. If you have breasts that are very close together, then when you are picking bras to either sew or buy, you're going to want to make sure that the frame is very, very tight. So I'm going to give you an example of that. My favorite bras, this is one that I've sewn. The wires sit right on top of each other. And the smallest distance you can have in that space is just a little bit under ½ an inch. And if I turn this around, let's get that to focus. You can see that my wires literally touch in the center. So that is the smallest distance I can get. If everything else fits and that space is thin enough, then my wires will sit flat against my chest. So let's say that that's not your problem. You've put on a bra and the wires don't sit flat against your body and you know that it's thin enough. Next thing to do, you're going to actually take your hand, and I actually wore a bra that the wires don't sit against my body, and you're going to do this. You're going to press against the bra, and you're going to make sure that you don't get double boob. So I have spillage here because the cups are actually too small. So if you press the wires against your body and the cups are too small, well, then you know you need to go up a cup size. Okay. If you press the wire against your body and there's enough room between your breasts for the wire and the cups are properly fitting, then there's one more thing that could be going on. And it's called a rib flare. Okay. And I don't know if I can press this against my body well enough, but I have these two protrusions right here where my ribs that are underneath my bra line actually protrude away from my body. And what they do is they actually press the band up and it tilts the wires forward. Okay, so what are your options for that? This is a full band bra, and that means that the elastic comes down here under the cup and the channeling is right here. So your options, if that happens to you, and this is, like I said, I have protruding rib cage, so that tilts the wire forward so that it cannot press tight against my body. So what you need is a partial band bra. And what that actually does is has elastic only from the undercup out to the side. Okay, so there's no elastic here. Actually, this one has a tiny bit of elastic. But mostly this part right here sits flush against the body. Now, those wires need to come all the way as close as they can up under your bust. Your breast tissue should not fall under where your underwire is. So everything should be above that point. And your band should be perfectly level around your body. So if you were to look in the mirror sideways, this front part here should match this back part here. If your band is slipping up, then that means your band is too big. And that's another problem I see, is that a lot of women go, oh, well, I think I'm like a 36C, when the reality is they may be a 32 double D, they may be a 30E or F, but they've gone to stores and this is what was available. So they just assumed that was their size, and that's not accurate. So if your band does not sit flat across your body, then you, again, are in the wrong size. But the great thing is that the back band is really easily adjustable when you're sewing your own bras. So this, if it's too short, pick the next larger size and you will have created sister sizing. So sister sizing basically says that a 36C is the same as a 34D or a 38B, which basically means if you go up a band size, then you go down a cup size. So that is sister sizing, and what that refers to is how much volume fits inside the cup. Okay, so we've gotten to the outer band, and if everything is flat on that part, now we get to move along to other parts of the bra. Now, obviously, if you're trying bras on and you're trying to get a good fit and it's not something you're making, you can take these things into consideration as you're shopping. So, for example, if I'm buying a bra, I never buy a full band bra ever because they can't fit me. So I always buy a partial band bra. I always look at where the wires are at. Like in this case, these two wires sit exactly next to each other. That is the smallest space. The one other adjustment you can make is if you have breasts that sit very, very close together, is to bring this section down. Because in general, you have a little bit more space lower down than you do at the highest point. I can never wear a full coverage bra. A full coverage bra is meant for the wires to come as high as your breast tissue. There is no bra that can overlap tight enough to fit. And don't think that you have to be large busted for these rules to apply. They apply to everybody, no matter the size cup that you are. This is what has to work. And when I was mentioning how you pull the wires in and decide if it fits, if you have gapping anywhere, then that cup is too large. Okay, so that tells you go down a cup size because that's not fitting you properly. All right, speaking of cups, that's what we're going to talk about next. So there are several cup styles, and the different cup styles are going to give you a different shape, and that's just how they're designed. So the first style is this orange lingerie, that's the brand, Marlboro. And I like this pattern designer because of two things. One, on her pattern pieces, she includes all the stitch lines. So that tells me when I'm making adjustments, how much I have to work with. So if I wanted to make a partial band bra, I know that I can cut off all of this part that was meant for the elastic because I don't need it anymore. So the orange lingerie Marlboro comes in, I think, a pack of A to double D or double D to J. This is a 34 or a modified 34J. It's not a straight 34J. So this specific style has what's called a power bar. I'm hoping that you guys can see this. Let's see if I can get this kind of shaped. And the power bar is right here. And what that power bar does is pushes the breast tissue from the side forward. Now, in general, this is intended to make you look slimmer. However, for me, because of the amount of breast tissue I have, it literally pushes everything and it starts to spill here. Even though the cups are large enough, it's putting too much pressure on the side. So definitely consider, not every bra style is meant for every body shape. So if you like bras with power bars that pull the tissue from the side, and generally women that have a larger build like power bars because it tends to make you look a little slimmer versus having your breast kind of spill out to the side. That is neither wrong nor right. That is personal preference. So that is this bra style. And this section here is a power bar, and it literally sits kind of flat and forces the tissue out into the front. It can, however, make you look a little bit pointy. So be cautious if you're sewing or making your own bras. And speaking of a little bit pointy, there is an adjustment you can make to round out your cups. I am not going to go over those kinds of adjustments. If you have the, I guess it's no longer Craftsy, the blueprint course on bra making, that is included as some of the adjustments. Oh my goodness, I'm missing all kinds of comments. Okay, so Melissa's mentioning that she's never had a bra where the bridge sat against her chest. So Melissa, like I said, you need to take into consideration why isn't it sitting there? So is the problem that you don't have much space? If you don't have much space, then you have to pick your bra styles really, really carefully. Okay, but that is supposed to sit tight against your body. And it could be that you're shopping at places that don't have a band size that's small enough to actually fit your cup volume. Krishon said, I've had one bra that fit against my chest. Then they grew, and now it doesn't. Krishon, let me tell you, I am all over that. I have a Rubbermaid bin that's this big, filled with bras that don't fit right now. So that's really frustrating, but there isn't much I can do about it right now. I mean, my baby guy's got to eat, and that's way more important than mama wearing a bra. So we've gotten that far. We're going to talk about the next style of cup. because there's lots and lots of stuff going on here. Let's make sure that okay, so Melissa's mentioning that she has a chest deformity that may cause that though. So is it possible, because some people are pigeon chested, and that means that this bone kind of sticks out, and that can make it really hard for those wires to sit. So what you're going to want is a plunge bra, and plunge bras tend to sit like down here, away from the chest bone, and that can be really helpful. If you're very large breasted, it can be hard to get a good plunge bra that doesn't spill every time you move around because there's not enough tissue or not enough fabric. So in that case, you want to make sure that it cuts kind of high, more into a V towards the bottom versus just kind of scooping down. I hope that makes sense. Susie said, so interesting. Where were you years ago? So Susie, I have to admit, you know, I certainly was not born knowing all this, and I've worn some really crappy bras. Like, you know, I look back and I'm like, man, I looked horrible because I didn't know what I was doing. And I let people in stores tell me, oh, you're blah, blah, blah size, or you're this other size. And the reality is I wasn't any of those sizes. I needed a much smaller band, a much larger cup. And since they didn't sell it, they didn't try to make it fit for me. So if you go to the store and you try it on and it doesn't actually fit, don't buy it just because you think you need a bra. It is better to find the exact one you need than it is to keep wearing the wrong one. The wrong one is not going to give you the shape. A properly fitting bra, your nipple or the apex of your bust should be approximately halfway of your arm. And that is what a youthful bust looks like. If they sag, it makes your belly look fat. And there's no nicer way to say that. A good bra gives you better posture because it's keeping you lifted rather than feeling tilted because the weight of your breasts are hanging off your shoulders. So good posture is really important to looking slim and healthy. You know, good posture means strong muscles. So, you know, keep all of those things in consideration. So Melissa's saying that her ribs actually dip in to your sternum. So there's an indentation here. Let's see, how might we fix that? I have to think about that because I'm not quite sure how to make it better. And it could just be that you might be able to bend your wires a little bit to fit that, but you shouldn't have to bend your wires really far, which is something a bra professional tried to tell me that I needed to do, was that to get it to fit against my chest, I needed to bend them. No. You bend them, they hurt. So a bra, a well-fitted bra, aside from the fact that you may spill out, should be comfortable enough to sleep in. And you guys are probably thinking an underwire bra is never going to be comfortable enough to sleep in, but the reality is that if it fits properly, then it will be comfortable enough to sleep in. So let's keep going because there's more parts for us to fit. So the next part I want to talk about is right here. And this is this is the frame, and it actually connects to the center front on the bottom if you make a full band bra. And the reason I want to talk about this is a lot of people say, my bra wires poke me. Well, let me take off the sweater because I'm going to show you where your bra wires are supposed to be and the different ways you can fix that. So your bra wire should enclose all of your breast tissue. How do you know? So when you're putting your bra on, you should be leaning forward, scooping, and pulling all the breast tissue in. Your wire should not sit on anything squishy. So if it's on something squishy, that is probably breast tissue, and you need to scoop it forward and make sure that your wire is sitting against your actual body and not on breast tissue. You can actually create indentations that look like fat, which are just misplaced breast tissue because your wire was pressing against your body. So make sure that you're pulling your tissue all forward. And also, your wire needs to stop where your breast tissue stops. So it shouldn't go all up into your armpit. When I make these patterns, I have to remove an inch from the frame because that's how much difference there is. And a wire up here is going to hurt because you don't need wires in your armpit. So this is another, and this one is one of those really easy adjustments that you just scoop out however much to get to the lower frame size that you need. And I forgot to talk about the back band some more. Okay, so we're going to talk about back fat, okay? And I mean, we're all being real here. So back fat. Why do you get back fat in your bras? And the reality is usually because this part is too small. So I'm actually going to show you one of my daughter's bras. And it's really cute. She doesn't have back fat. She has like no body fat. So this tiny little bit of fabric is plenty to sit against her body. Now there is no wire in this bra. But if I were to press this against my body, this section here, everything above there would look like back fat. And it's not that my back is fat. It is that when you press the tissue with elastic, and you have to have elastic in this upper band to hold it all together, it's going to squish breast tissue, and it's not going to be pretty. So what are your options? The options are to make this section, contrary to what you might think, as big as possible. So even though I scooped this section out, I left as much of this as possible. And honestly, I'm going to go back when I make another one of these and move the strap over even more. The more coverage you have, the less likely you're going to see back fat, because you have less fat higher up on your body than you do lower down. And so as you bring as much enclosed into that space, you won't have spillage. And the whole point is to cover as much body so that you don't have spillage. So that covers the frame and the back band. Now this is the Orange Lingerie Boylston. Okay, and this has a very different shape. So this bra does not have a power bar. Okay, so there's no bar here to push the tissue forward. So it's going to leave you with a much rounder shape. And you might be looking at this fabric and thinking, T, that does not look like bra making fabric. And you'd be absolutely correct. This is actually quilting cotton. So quilting cotton is not a great fabric to use for longevity. You're not going to get a lot of wear from a bra made out of quilting fabric. So, but for fit, it absolutely works. So what are you going to do if you want to make your test bra out of quilting fabric? Your first one is going to be the stretch is going to go with the grain so that there's almost no stretch. And then you're going to cut the next pieces on the bias for when you line it. And that's going to give stability and the least amount of stretch. These patterns are not drafted for really stretchy fabric. Once you've got a good fit, you can go back and use a fabric with a minimal amount of stretch so that you have some movement in the cups. But quilting cotton is great for samples. Now this pattern itself lends itself very easily to shortening the center front, as well as a very, very rounded cup. However, it's going to come out further on the body. So if that's not a look you prefer and you have a lot of breast tissue, this might not be your favorite style. Let me get back to the comments here so I make sure I don't miss anything. Christina said, when I've gotten fitted at an expensive store, they're always tightening the band so that it's uncomfortable. Store-bought that I like are much softer elastic on the back. So Christina, part of that is personal preference. Part of that, it could be uncomfortable because you're wearing the wrong style of bra. Just because you have the right size doesn't mean it's the right style for you. There are so many different styles of bras. Like I said, there are plunge bras, which I wear sometimes, but not if I'm doing a lot of movement because I might spill out of the top. You have balconette bras, which I actually like because they come up a little bit higher than a plunge, but they don't push from the side like a power bar. So I would call this more like a balconette based on the shape. The more seams in your bra pattern the more options you have for fitting. But your band really, really does have to be pretty tight. So you should be able to fit 2 fingers under your bra band, and it should be really, really snug. And those 2 fingers are meant to give you enough room to breathe. Softer elastics on the back can be tricky because you can end up having the bra tilt because there's not enough support on the sides. So it's kind of a balance of enough tightness versus the right size. Again, if you're wearing the wrong cup size, the band is going to feel wrong. And so it can feel too tight because they're trying to compensate for a band that is bigger than you need. And so they're trying to get it tight enough. And speaking of, when you are buying a bra, you should be fitting it on the largest hooks, not the smallest ones, because over time, elastic stretches out. So when you first wear it, you wear it on the largest hooks. As it starts to stretch out, you move it to the middle hooks, and you know that when you get to the tightest set of hooks, assuming that you have not lost weight, you know that that bra is almost dead, and it's time to look for new bras. And speaking of bra longevity, assuming you have 3 to 5 bras, your bras should realistically last approximately 6 months. And I know that seems like a very short amount of time, especially if you're someone like me where buying your bras ready to wear can be $85 a piece. So a bit of advice on that. 1, find a bra you really love. And when you love it, buy it. Find the cheapest way to get a huge collection. So for myself, for ready to wear, I like Panache. They fit me well, or certain styles fit me well. Not all of their bras fit me well because not all bras, even if they're the right size, are going to fit well. But what I do is I will find the one that I really love. For example, the Clio, I think it's Clio Adina. I really like that bra. And I went on eBay, and you can actually order them cheaper straight from the UK than buying them in the United States. Even with shipping, I was paying around $30 a bra versus $85 a bra. The other thing was look for the exact bra style you like in colors that are being discontinued. I mean, I prefer pretty bras. This was definitely a high wear bra for me before I had my little guy. So I don't mind bright colors, and bright colors go on clearance way more than black or white or beige. Personally, I think I own like 2 beige bras, and only for wearing under white t-shirts. Otherwise, my bras are all fun, pretty colors because you only live once. So I want to make sure that I'm able to answer questions because I know I covered a lot of stuff. Oh, there was one more thing that we haven't covered yet before we consider ourselves done, and that is your straps. So you can have all the other parts of your bra fitting and the straps don't feel good. And that can mean that your straps are too far over and they fall off your shoulders. It can mean that they feel restrictive. It can mean that they dig in your armpit. So there's not much you can do if that happens in a ready-to-wear bra. I mean, that just means it doesn't fit and you try on another bra. But when you're looking at it from a make your own bra, you have so many options. So you can very easily move the bra strap over on the front if that seems to be part of the problem. Personally, I like my bras just on the inside of where my shoulder bone sits. That feels good to me. Obviously, try different bras and decide how that feels to you. The other thing is that if you have a problem with your bra strap sliding off your shoulders, sometimes people overcompensate and keep trying to move the front when the problem may actually just be in the back. And if you move them closer together in the back, it'll fit better. So a quick way to test that is to take a paper clip and make your bra into a racer back. And if the bra straps immediately feel better, it's because you need the back to be closer together. And playing with this part, you almost can't ruin it. You'll just scoop it and bring it out further and further and further, even if this has to attach almost at where your hook and eye goes. All right, so that takes us to 30 minutes exactly. I don't want to go too far over. I know that my family and my little guy need me. This is important information, whether you're buying a bra or making your own bra. So I want to make sure that I'm able to answer questions. Cheryl said her straps usually fall off her shoulders, your narrow shoulders. So there, like I said, there's two places you can adjust that. You can adjust it here at the front when you're making your own bras, or you can adjust it at the back. And for a quick fix, they sell, it's like a circle kind of, and it's got slits, and it makes your bra into a racer back. That should redirect all the shape to your back. Mary said, Simply by T, simply the best. Your videos and tips are always exceptional. Thank you, Mary. I imagine you have a lot of life experience wearing bras, and I hope that, maybe there were a few tips there that you didn't know. And certainly make sure that we're sharing this video with people. I mean, all your girlfriends, at least some of them wear bras, and chances are most of them are wearing the wrong size or the wrong style. So Gab says, what do you do to make sure the elastic and underwire don't twist? So bras really are very delicate, and hand washing them really is the best way to take care of your bras, okay? And you never, ever, ever want to stick your bras in the dryer. Now, I will admit, I do this all the time, but only on my handmade stuff because I know I can replace it when it's dead. But you're going to get the best longevity by hand washing and laying flat to dry. Do not hang your bras, okay? So wet fabric is delicate fabric unless the fabric is made for water. So unless you are dealing with a swimsuit, do not hang your bras to dry because they will stretch out. And when they stretch out, they won't fit good anymore. And nobody wants a poorly fitting bra after you went through all that work to find the right one, right? Susie says, thank you, great info. You are very welcome. Melissa, I would be very happy to help you with the bra fitting. I will point out that I am not a bra professional, but I can point out things that may or may not work better. And honestly, the best way is to, take all the things that I said into consideration. Go to a store that you're fairly certain carries your size, usually a lot of the higher end stores. I don't trust bra fitters, not because there aren't some great ones out there. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's people that know way more than all the information I just gave you. But I don't trust them because you don't know who's the good one and who's the bad one. So basically go through, grab every bra that appears to be in your size, and try it on. Also grab every bra that is a cup size smaller, a cup size larger, a band size smaller with larger and smaller cups, because you have to figure out what fits on your body. Okay, so technically, I started with a 34J bra and the frame fits great, but my cups were empty in the top, and that's a common problem I have, is that I'm very full on the bottom and empty on the top. So I had to modify my pattern. So I don't expect to ever make a bra from a pattern and get it right exactly the first time, but there's a lot of things you can do to adjust. So I have actually made this week 4 bras, 2 of which were exactly to the pattern, and I labeled them this time because I forgot last time and ended up with bras that were completely useless. So I made bras exactly to the pattern, labeled them. So now I can go back, and if I say, I haven't made this pattern in a while, I don't remember what adjustments I made, I can easily go put that bra back on and go, okay, I know I need to remove X amount from this part, I need to do this over here, and that's going to give me a closer fit to start. Sharon says, great tips, and thank you, Sharon. I'm doing my best. I mean, there's so much to know about bras. I will say that the sewing part is not hard. So don't get scared of that part. That part, I mean, if you can sew a straight line, if you've ever made a quilt with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, the hardest part is applying the channeling. And it's not hard, just take your time. I tend to try to get in a rush, and then that's where I end up having to bring out my seam ripper. Melissa says she thinks she's pretty close, but she might need to look for a narrower bridge. So remember, when you're making your bridge, that you need to leave a 1/4 inch from the fold line. And this, no matter what bra I make, I always cut off a big chunk so that I only have a 1/4 inch to the fold. And remember, you can always bring the bridge down also. Cheryl says, I'm 66 years old. Don't fill out the top of the bra like I used to. Any cup design I should look for. So Cheryl, number one is to consider bras that have either stretch lace or some elastic sewn across the top. Those usually help pull it a little bit tighter to your body. I now put elastic in the tops of all my bra cups just because it adds a little bit more tension to kind of make it look more full. Another thing is to make sure that your bra has enough lift. Often the older we get, we kind of, I don't want to say we stop caring, although sometimes I don't care at all. And I'm certainly not 66 yet. But you can also consider push-up bras. And I'm not talking about the push-up bras that have a big chunk of foam in them. There are push-up bras that are meant to bring the bust tissue up without adding extra padding. I know I've bought several from Panache, and I was really, really happy with them because they made sure that there was enough to fill the bottom of the cup, and that's where I'm usually the largest, without being it overly pushy, and then I felt like my breasts were up around my neck because, you know, there's a lot of tissue there, and without a bra, if I stood on my head, my boobs would be on my neck, which isn't cute at all. Susie's asking what type of elastic for the top. So I usually use like a 3/8 inch clear elastic, and either if it's got a lining, then I put it in between, and I just put a little bit of tension on it, and it's just enough to bring the fabric just a little bit closer to my body. Also, when you're making your bra, if you're making a bra, it's very easy to pinch out the cup and just make a little dart and then bring the dart together. It's going to create a more curved shape. Let me see if I've got my pattern so I can show you what that looks like. Not that one. Not that either. Here we go. Okay, so this is the Marlboro. And I'll show you the original, and then I'll show you my adjusted. So this is the original upper cup, and you can see this section is really, really straight and really, really wide. And this part is also very straight. When I took my dart out, it causes this section to curve more. And so when we overlap them, you'll see how it removes some of the height. I took quite a bit out of the width, and it curves this edge. So if you lay them this way, you can see how much difference there is. So I know I have more tissue down low and less up high, and that resorts everything. Jessica is mentioning that she lost her battle with gravity. And Jessica, let me tell you, I lost my battle with gravity probably, 15 or so years ago. So after I got beyond, that was it. It was like, you can't fight that gravity. It's just, there comes a point when it's just too heavy and your body just can't keep up. Jessica said, yes, lift versus padding, push-up versus padded bra. So yes, you want a push-up, not a padded bra. Sometimes those are lined a little bit, and I'm okay with lining, but you don't need padding. You just need to get them up. And so usually what they do is they flatten out the lower cup a little bit, and that brings everything up just a little higher and tighter to the body. So let me go ahead with shop news before we go. So number one, I am looking to get more bra supplies for the shop. So we will probably be stocking channeling in white and black, as well as this lining right here. This lining is a nylon and it has almost no stretch. So that makes it perfect for lining your bras, and you can use it to line all of the parts, which I did here. This is actually a scuba fabric on the outside, which provides a little bit of nipple coverage. But the lining helps stabilize everything. So when you're making a bra, you can theoretically use any fabric you want as long as you have a good lining stabilizer. So we'll be adding channeling, lining, and those will be in white and black, and possibly bra backs also, just to make sure that we have what we need. Gab says the ones with hook lock adjustment in front works best for me. So that's really interesting, Gabs. Most people struggle with bras that hook in the front because they're not very adjustable. So it sounds to me like you're a very average size and not necessarily a small cut, but that you fit their block really well. Jessica says, at Susie, I used clear elastic because I have a bajillion yards of that laying around. I also have like a bajillion yards. So Christy's asking, any pattern that you recommend for using to make a bikini? I do need the underwire for support. So in theory, any bra pattern could be used to make a bikini. However, because there's a lot of fiddling and the lining isn't always stable, I believe Pinup Girls is the brand, and I believe she has an underwire bra. It helps to use molded foam in a swim bra because that's less likely to give to chlorine, and that way you can just line the whole thing with swim fabric and still use an underwire. I will say that if you're planning on doing a lot of swimming, your underwires are going to rust out. They are not meant for chlorine, so unless, and if you're swimming in the ocean, salt eats metal also. So it's not so simple as to just make it and think it's going to last forever. It's not going to have the same longevity. So if you're looking for something to look, you know, really put together, then yes, you can put the underwire in, but you're not going to get the same kind of longevity. I would look more towards getting a really supportive power mesh and using that to support your swimsuit versus putting an underwire in. But that's kind of one of those like personal preference things, and how much are you planning on going swimming? Me personally, when I make a swimsuit, I swim. I get in the water, I play with my kids. So I'm not worried about, sag. I'm more worried about, is my swimsuit going to stay on my body and is it going to fall apart? Because I'm going to use it a lot. Okay, so, other shop news. Next Monday will be the first Monday in February, and for those who are familiar with our shop, we are doing mystery boxes. It is one day only. They will be $25 for the box plus $12 shipping, and this month's boxes will have 2 yards cotton lycra, 2 yards rayon spandex, 2 yards of our stretch lace, and that should be able to put together something fairly interesting, especially for Valentine's Day. Because most of our cotton lycra in the shop is solids, you'll probably get some kind of printed rayon spandex, a matching cotton lycra, and then some stretch lace. So if you are interested in a mystery box, definitely keep your eye out. I will be sending out newsletters. Finally, I have been crazy busy. So those will be going out to remind you that we'll have mystery boxes on Monday. And I wanted to mention one more thing before I go, because I think this is really important, and the reason why I like orange lingerie bra patterns is that their frame is exactly the same for both style bras. And you're probably looking at these two pieces saying, but there's space right here. So they actually just move the seam over so it would line up with the center of the bra cup. But otherwise, the frame is exactly the same. And that makes it really easy if you've made one of their bras to switch back and forth. So that was one thing I wanted to make sure that I mentioned before I forget. And then, are there any other questions? Looks like there's more comments. Stephanie says, I know you can adjust them, but what patterns have you found best with a narrow middle section? I haven't, but adjusting the frame itself, or the bridge, see, this one's called the bridge. Adjusting the bridge is super easy, especially if you have your seam allowances marked in already. All I do is take from the seam allowance and 1/4 inch over, that's the smallest you can make it, and you just snip it off. So it's really very, very easy. I found the Pinup Girls, I don't remember which bra pattern I bought, but her bridge was very tall and very wide, and so I had to cut a lot more off of it. So I wouldn't be afraid of making this adjustment. I make this adjustment before I even sew test fit. I wouldn't be worried about it at all. Christy said, not too much. I'm currently a double D E cup, but I'm going to America and have nothing that fits. Store-bought is just awful. And I have to absolutely agree with you, Christy. Since you are only a double D or E cup, the pattern company Cloth Habit has a bra called the Watson, and it is meant for knit fabrics, and it has cup sizes. And I have made one, and it was amazing. I have now gotten much too large for their size range, but I made one out of swim fabric, and I wore it for like 2 years. You can add channeling to it without having to add wires, and that'll give you extra support without having to put an actual wire in. So I can't recommend that enough. I will type it here. So Cloth Habit Watson for a swim bra. Right, so that should help you to search. Yes, Jessica, I will have mystery boxes. So if you're looking to stock up, find some fun new stuff. And otherwise, thank you for joining me today. Make sure that you like this video. Share it with the people in your life who might need to know more about bras, whether they're making their own or buying them ready to wear. Getting a good fit is really, really important. And I know too many people wearing the wrong bra and, then coming and saying, well, bras hurt. Bras are not supposed to hurt. A well-fitting bra doesn't hurt. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week.